I'll tell you one. I was just a young girl. I was about maybe 13, 14 years old. And I was sleeping in the living room on the couch, same place we live at right now. And I must have dozed off. I wasn't sure, but Mommy had went on to bed. I was feeling bad that night. That's why I slept on the couch. And all of a sudden, I heard it was raining. So I got up and opened up the door and looked out. And went out on the porch. And it was raining, drizzling rain. And I heard this noise. You know what it sounds like when a rocking chair rocks back and forth? That screeching noise? Well, that's what it sounded like. And it was getting louder and louder. And I was trying to figure out what direction the noise was coming from. And it was coming from the big rock up top driveway. And I don't know what made me, but I was really, really curious to walk up that way. But I went out in the rain now and walked up there, and there was this old lady. Now listen to this. It's God's honest truth. There was an old lady sitting in a rocking chair up there on that rock. And she had this long, it was like a light blue. I could tell what color it was because the moon was full. And it was bright. But she just sitting there rocking. And then when she looked down at me, I was at, the foot, it's a little embankment where the rock is. And I was right there, and she looked down at me, and she motioned with her finger for me to come to her. Ew. So I did, I walked up there to her, and she said, sit down. Now this, I have no idea. I had never seen this lady before in my life. But I sat down right at her feet. And she put her hand on my head, and she said, honey, you have a gift. And someday, when you learn how to use it, that gift is for good. And you always keep that in mind. Now, right now, you don't know how to use it. But someday, you will. And she patted me on the head and said, now go back to bed. Well, I did. And that morning, now listen to this. That morning, when I woke up on the couch, I was soaking wet. From head to toe, soaking wet. Now, I really seen this and walked out in the rain and talked to this old lady up on that rock. Or I was dreaming it and was sleepwalking out in the rain. Either way it goes, I was in the rain that night. Because I got the couch wet, had mud on my shoes, and I was soaking wet. But she told me, it's so weird, because she told me I had a gift.
What kind of gift was it?
She didn't say. She said, when it comes time, I'll know. I don't know. I don't know what it is. But ain't that weird? Yeah. Mom seems to think it's her mamaw. I don't know. But I think it's something. I
was down to your house one night at the edge of dark. And my nephew Ronnie Trout was down there, little Ronnie. And he was talking to Clifford, and I was standing right under the rock, out from it.
The same rock I'm talking about?
Yep.
The big one? Oh.
Yep.
With all our initials on it. Cool.
And I heard in Ronnie's voice, Shirley. Or Cheryl, something like that. Or Cheryl.
All of us hears a voice hollering our names from that direction. Every one of us, all of us kids is
But
heard.
see, you're Shirley, I'm Shirley. But was it me, Shirley, or was it you, Shirley? I don't know.
I don't know either.
But it was in Ronnie's voice, little Ronnie's voice.
Well, it had to have been for you then.
And I immediately looked around, and I looked back toward that rock. I didn't see nobody, and I said, Ronnie, did you holler at me? He said, no, I've been talking to Clifford. I said, okay. I brought my mind back to your great-grandma. She might have been the one up there talking to me, I don't know. But I was sitting in the yard, this is true too, and last night in the Jeep.
Last night?
Playing my game. 3 o'clock, it was after 3 o'clock in the morning, and I heard behind the Jeep scraping like somebody was scraping through the gravel. Sure did.
What do you mean scraping through the gravel?
You know how you would just...
With your feet?
Maybe scrape... No, it wasn't your feet. It was more like...
Was somebody with
a
shovel
shovel.
or a rake?
More like a shovel or a rake. Yeah. And
Wow.
I heard it behind me, and I wasn't afraid, but I looked, and I said, nobody. You know, I looked all around the Jeep. I said, ain't nobody here? And just kept playing my game. Doink, 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 little, you know, bubbles. And I just kept hearing it, but nothing ever bothered me. I wasn't even afraid behind the Jeep.
Wow.
There in the gravel behind the Jeep. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Never did scare me, but I was up to after 3 last night.
Well, Leonard and Kelly, they seen something up there on that rock too. It was an old couple though. It wasn't just an old woman. This was a woman, old woman and man. That they were walking. It was real late. They was leaving from Dad's and walking up to their trailer. And all of a sudden they looked over, and there was this old couple just standing there right at that rock. And Kelly said, Leonard, look. Leonard seen it. Everybody that was around there seen it. And they just faded away. Just faded away, right? But it was an old couple then. There's something about that rock. And shoot, when we was kids, we played on that rock. Me and my sisters, we'd sun on that rock. Tan. I built a teepee once. Right there, not on the rock, but right there at the base of the rock. And I used to camp out in it, build me a little fire and act like an Indian when I was a kid.
And you wanted me to camp on that hill beside that rock?
Yes.
I'm not doing
just
it.
To get a feeling, just get the feeling that.
I'm not going to do it. I'm too afraid of your grandma. Heck to the snotting no. No.
But,
no.
And I'll tell you another thing that happened, and I can prove this by Mom. Me and Mom, everybody else was asleep, okay? And me and Mom was in the living room. And all of a sudden, I heard this bubble, bubble, bubble. It was real faint and real low. You probably hear it. Bubble, like a heartbeat. And it sounded like it was behind the house, coming up the hill. And the reason why I'm saying it sounded like it was coming up the hill, because it was making that, it was like it's getting louder. Like something's getting closer to you. And it gets louder as it gets closer to you. And I said, Mom, you hear that? And Mom said, yeah, shh, hush, Shirley, hush. And we sat there on the couch together and listened to that heartbeat. Go all the way around the house. And it got so loud, it was really like a speaker in your ear. That's how loud it was. But it was faster. Boom, 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 boom. And it faded off back over the mountain again behind the house.
Did somebody die for that?
I don't know. Look here, I got chill bumps. But I swear to you that happened. I swear to God that that happened.
Well, I'll tell you, when I was laying Mom and Dad's middle bed where their bedroom is now, I stayed on night with you. I didn't see the dog, but there was a little dog, felt like a chihuahua, jumped up on the bed, walked across my legs, and
that could have been Sally.
Rested against the wall.
Or Wiggles.
On the bed.
That was the two longest dogs, we had. They lived out their whole entire life there, from pup to adulthood. But I think Sally was like 15 when she died. She was a Chihuahua, little tiny dog. And Wiggles, he was a poodle. Well, really a wild-haired terrier, but he had poodle in him. And he had a little bobtail. And them were the two. It had to have been one of them.
Well,
Because a lot of people has felt that. I felt that.
I was laying there. It didn't scare me. I don't know why. It just didn't. And I looked on the bed, didn't see nothing. But I can follow what this dog was doing to the T. Like I could see him, but I couldn't see him. And he would jump on the bed and walk across my legs and get over on the back of the bed.
Go around and around. And then like he settled down.
I don't know if it was, no, wasn't doing that. He just plopped down and his body went against the wall, between the wall and the bed. And then he got up, went across my legs, jumped back down, went back toward the living room.
Did you hear him?
Come back. It's 7 or 8 times.
He did that.
Yep.
Had to been one of them two dogs.
And but all the meantime, it didn't even scare me.
Wow. I guess. A lot of stuff has happened there to have been heard, been seen.